Welcome to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Andrew Bartolotta. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making an impact in our community and around the globe. And today we're spotlighting an organization making monumental strides in closing the racial wealth gap right here in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm thrilled to have with me Larissa Gregory, the executive director of LITE Memphis. Fresh off their significant recognition and grant from the NBA Foundation, LITE Memphis stands as a beacon of hope for Black and Latinx students in our city, empowering them with entrepreneurial skills and the platform to instigate systemic economic change. So let's dive into their incredible journey and understand the impact they're creating. Larissa, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, Andrew, thank you so much for having us.
I have been involved with Let's Innovate Through Education, LITE Memphis, but talk about some of the genesis story and what really inspired its establishment.
Yeah, LITE Memphis has been around for 10 years here in our city. We just celebrated that, and that's really hard to believe. You know, our mission and vision were founded by teachers right here in Memphis that saw a need and that decided to be creative and to think through the need and think through the challenge of how to bridge the racial wealth gap, how to equip students with intangible and tangible skills, and how to engage students on a transformative journey that could build entrepreneurial skills, but ultimately build skills that they can take into the world and closing the racial wealth gap. And so over the last 10 years, that has been the vision. That is still the mission. It's changed, we're evolving. But when it gets down to our roots, we want to be in the community with kids, making a difference. We don't think that we are the solution to closing the racial wealth gap, but we are convinced that our impact is a part of the solution. And so that's what we wake up and do every day here at LITE Memphis. And it is a true joy, a true, true joy.
Well said. And like I've said, I've seen it firsthand, the impact that you're making with these students, and it is incredible. And the light bulbs that go on, pun
Yes.
intended, of what they are able to decide on and journey through is really great. We mentioned that you recently received a grant from the NBA Foundation. You're the only
Yes.
nonprofit in the Mid-South region. Talk about what it feels like to be the only nonprofit in our region and how was the application process and how did you find out? Talk a little bit more about this grant from the NBA Foundation.
Yeah, the application was rigorous. And to be honest, this was our third time going after this grant. And so we went with crossed fingers and high hopes. Um, I wish that you could have been a fly on the wall when I heard that we received the grant. I completely lost my mind for all things good because it made me envision very quickly what these funds could be used for kids in our city. And, you know, we often hear of crime and curfews and everything that's going wrong with the youth. But, Andrew, I'll be the first one to tell you, and not the last one to tell you, that our youth, they are so brilliant. And so, funding like what's coming from the NBA Foundation gives us an opportunity to sow into our community even more than we already are. And that's a joy. Like, that is a thrill, and it's going to be an adventure. The process was, you know, filling out the application, all of those types of things. But the part that I really, really enjoyed was the personal interview, because to hear from someone that sees our kids every day, to hear from someone who, you know, is a former educator inside of, you know, a classroom inside of a school building, and to talk about our city, like, there was no greater honor. And so when I celebrated and lost my mind on the day that they said that we received the grant, it was for kids. My joy was for kids. My joy was for our community. And sometimes Memphis gets a bad rap, and she doesn't deserve that. And so to be able to represent Memphis and say, hey, LITE Memphis is a grantee partner with the NBA Foundation, and we're the only ones, and thousands of folks applied for it. Yeah, that feels good for kids. It feels really good for kids in our community.
Amen. And I can't wait to see how it amplifies LITE Memphis's programs and just
Sure.
the work that you're already doing. You're welcoming the largest cohort ever for LITE Memphis. Talk about what the semester has in store and what factors contributed to your growth.
August 13th, we welcomed our fall cohort. And I think the staff and I all kind of stood back at one time because the number of students that are in the room or that were in the room is double what we're used to having. And so to go from 30 students to staring at 67 beautiful Black and brown faces, I mean, it was just incredible. And not only were we able to see them, but one thing that really touches my heart is to see parents and families also in this space. And so we had parents and families there, we had volunteers, we had our mentors, and we had our students, and it was a beautiful time. And, one of the things that we have changed or that we've tweaked a little bit over the last year has been how we're reaching out to families and to potential participants. And so this recruitment cycle, we decided to do something different. I'm a neighborhood girl. I love Binghamton, will always love Binghamton. But I believe that you have to go into the neighborhoods within our community to be able to see greatness. Like, you can't just set up a table and expect everybody to come to you just because you know that your programming is great. But going into schools, going into community centers, going to festivals, going to Juneteenth, like all of these things, that's where LITE Memphis was. And I think, and that's where we'll continue to be as well. But I think that's what has contributed to our growth this semester, was just changing up our mindset of how we recruit students and how we show up with the community and with families.
Talk about some of the things that people can do to support LITE Memphis.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first 6 months of last year was all about alignment, making sure that we're all on the same page as a staff, that we're all aligned as a board, that we're all aligned as community stakeholders, and that we're aligned as a staff. The second 6 months was to take a step back and say, okay, it's time to build infrastructure so that we can get ready for kids. We know that from our impact study with Slingshot, we know from our own data that our programming is effective and it opens up opportunities and access to other things more quickly than a student who does not go through the LITE programming. And that's beautiful to say, right? But it's also something that we don't just want to hold to ourselves. We want to share it with as many kids, Black and brown students, particularly in our city, to close that racial wealth gap. So with alignment, as well as with saying, okay, it's time to build that infrastructure, that's where it came that we were applying for more grants. We were applying for bigger grants. And I took the risk to go ahead and hire the staff to get ready for the kids. And so we have grown our program team. We used to just be a director of education and one program coordinator. Now we have a director of education and 3 program coordinators. And what that does is it gives participants one-on-one coaching meetings every week, plus their 2-hour session on Sundays. Another thing that's unique about LITE Memphis is that we provide all transportation. And so also looking for, donors that are willing to support transportation, that are willing to support programmatic success and investing in that way, but that are also committed to donating to our capacity building. And that's where the MBA Foundation has come in. They've agreed to be 50% programmatic success and 50% capacity building. That's where another partner comes in, like Cummins. They've committed $150,000 over a 3-year span time, and we're walking into the second year of that. And that gives us programmatic success, and that gives us capacity building. And so that's where we're headed, Andrew, is how can we continue to sustain the good things that we have right now? And how can we build the capacity to make room for more students, for more schools, for more communities within our greater Memphis community? Because we're seeing the impact and we're experiencing the impact, and it's a good thing. It is a very good thing.
It is, and props to you, especially working with Slingshot Memphis and the capacity building and understanding that the infrastructure is needed to expand your services, and the need is so dire in our community. And I'm thinking about the LITE Memphis I knew 10, 9, 8 years ago, and the LITE Memphis that exists now. And it's just incredible to see the work that you and your team are doing to be able to make a difference. Talk about maybe a success story from LITE Memphis that really shows the organization's impact on the lives of students.
Yeah, I've been here for a year and 2 months. And so I can't necessarily speak to past stories, but I'll speak to one student in particular that I've seen over the last year or so, and that's TJ Fuller, Terrell Fuller. He actually was our spring 2023, there it is, our spring 2023 pitch night winner. I always get months and years confused. Um, and he is a senior, a rising senior, current senior at the Soulsville Charter School. He went through our program, and he is running a business called More Than a Flame. And it is a candle making business that also has a cookie that matches the smell of the candle. And so it's like this aromatic therapy that he's creating, that's more than a flame. And to hear him talk about his product, to see him work with a manufacturer that came through one of our partners, which is Backers. It's something that students also have access to when they're in our programming, but Terrell also has access to it as a student at Soulsville. But to see all of that come together, and to see Terrell, or TJ is his preferred name, to see TJ gross close to $700 in like 30 to 45 minutes, that's direct revenue that went right back into his pocket. Like, that's what it's about. Hard work and outcomes. And that's what he experienced. And then to be the winner of pitch night, he received an additional $1,500 that went directly back into his business. And so I was just in a conversation with somebody the other day, and they were like, they should pair TJ with a bakery that's close by who, sells little boutique items, but also sells baked goods. And I was like, I'm thrilled to take that back to him. And so opportunities like that, where a student can be in high school and they're making revenue on the side of thousands of dollars, and they can go to college, and that money can, if they choose, fuel their post-secondary choice, or maybe they continue to expand their business. Like, that's what it's about. And I don't know, TJ just thrills my soul. And there's a lot of TJs that come in and through LITE Memphis, and we are a piece of their journey. They are, well on their way, but we are a piece of their journey for sure.
Well, what's so cool too is that you're providing them this platform, infrastructure, entrepreneurial skills, relationships to expand their passions and what they want to pursue. But Light Memphis doesn't take complete ownership of it, which is so really cool because it just shows that you all are really there to provide this platform for them and then watch them shine. And you also have this really cool alumni program, and so the journey doesn't just stop with after pitch night. And so talk about some of the alumni program and how that has sort of expanded now that you are in a decade into this nonprofit.
Yeah, the alumni engagement program has been something that's formally been called the Innovation Fellows program. And we didn't feel coming into year 10 that accurately described what we were wanting to do, trying to do, and who we're becoming as an alumni engagement program. In our alumni, that's a mouthful, Andrew. In our alumni engagement program, our goal is to see students use the skills that they've learned during our 16-week program and to find a job or career that pays a livable wage that is fulfilling to them. I can't tell you how many friends I have, and how many folks I come across that don't really enjoy what they do on a daily basis. And that's no way to be. I enjoy my job every single day that I show up to it. And I want students to enjoy what they're doing as a career or a job every single day that they're doing it. And so that's our hope. And that's our aim, is to support students through the age of 24 or post-secondary attainment, which can be a trade, which can be making enough revenue from their business that it sustains a lifestyle that they're satisfied with. That can be college or 2-year or cosmetology. It can be whatever option they choose. But we want to support them through that. And so that's the goal and the aim of our alumni engagement program. We have beautiful partners, including Level All and backers that make that possible, because we can't do that on our own. We're inching close, Andrew, to 500 alumni. And so we can't do that on our own. And so we have partners that help make that possible and make it true. Yeah.
Incredible work, and I just love that it doesn't stop at pitch night. That's really just the beginning for them to thrive. And it's not sort of, a lot of times in class they may have the privilege to have a sort of like entrepreneurial type class where they can incubate their ideas, and then after the semester it's over. Not with
Yeah.
LITE Memphis. It's just the beginning, which is so cool to see. And I just love the work that y'all are doing. For any entrepreneur, young entrepreneur, seasoned entrepreneur listening, what piece of advice would you offer them as they embark on their journey?
As an entrepreneur myself, I would say make a plan. Make a plan that feels so big that it feels impossible, and then take it piece by piece, because we're often, especially as black and brown people, and especially as a woman of color, we're often limited to what our dreams should be, but they can be as big as we want them to be. So dream big and then make a plan, chunk by chunk. Find resources in the community that can support you. LITE Memphis is one of those. If you're 15 to 18, if you're a little bit over that, then there's some other community resources that we'd love to point you to. But I say make a plan, make it big, and then start little by little building that plan out, and see what happens.
Beautifully said. That's great. And lastly, what puts a smile on your face when you look at the work that you've been doing, almost a year and a half in at LITE Memphis, and you and your team, and being able to secure this NBA Foundation grant, and just the work that you're propelling to do for Black and Brown students across the Mid-South?
Yeah, there's two things that put a smile on my face right now. We have an incredible team here at LITE Memphis, and they work strategically and intentionally every single day for kids. And this work would not be possible without their work and without their hearts. And so, all my love to the team here at LITE Memphis, truly. And the second thing that puts a smile on my face is kids. This Sunday, when I walk into the space for our programming at Crosstown High School, like, I will see a room full of kids that would not be there otherwise. And the fact that they choose to show up on a Sunday, and the fact that they choose to invest in themselves and invest in their community in this way, I could not be more pleased. You turn on the news, you may see something completely different, but walking into that room, Andrew, it's hope. It's straight up hope, and I love it. I love it, absolutely love it. So I'll be smiling this Sunday. And anybody is welcome to join me in that smile. We're always open to mentors. We're always open to donors. And we're always open for folks who want to share in LITE Memphis.
Well said. And where can people go to learn more about LITE Memphis, support your efforts, and help you power the good?
Absolutely. LITEMemphis.org is a great place to start. You can click on volunteer, you can click on donor, or you can, if you have a student that you want to recommend, or you're a student yourself, you can fill out an interest form. If you don't want to do all that, info@litememphis.org, and we will get you to the right place. So either our website or our email is a great place to start.
Well, Larissa Gregory, you are doing extraordinary work in our city, you and your team. Thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for all that you were doing with LITE Memphis.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for having us. It's a gift.